I have a template for my head. This is a corrugated kind of plastic board that we have laying around. You can make it out of anything. Cardboard works, but it gets wet pretty quick. So this is nice if you can get your hands on this plastic. Anything plastic works real well because you don't have to worry about it getting wet and soggy. You could also use, if you didn't have anything else laying around, you could go to the hardware store and get shower pan liner. Comes in, I believe, 4-foot wide sections, and you can just cut off however much you need. That works as well. I had this laying around, so this is what I used. I used a protractor to make lines equal distance apart from each other at 30 degrees, which gave me 12 lines. That's where our holes for the head are going to go. And I made this about 6 or 7 inches, about 7 inches wider than the outside of the ring. That gives you plenty of room to fold it over and tie it onto the ring to hold it in place while you stitch. You do lose a little bit of waist skin there, but it's just one of the things you have to do to get this to work right. So you cut it a little bit bigger, and that way you can tie it onto the ring to hold it tight while you stitch. So next step is to cut out the skin. So here are some of the tools that we're going to use to cut out this head and to stitch up the head onto the rings. We've got some sewing all thread. This is natural thread. I don't know if you can see it there. Kind of hard to see. There we go. Just sewing all thread. You get that at Tandy Leather or some other source. It's artificial sinew type. This actually is not artificial sinew. This is just a waxed nylon thread. It's a natural color, so it should match the skin a little bit better than if you just got white thread. This is one of my little inventions. This is going to help me keep the stitches an equal distance from the ring and make a nice line all the way around the head. Otherwise your stitch will be a little bit wavy. I just made this out of a bunch of couplers and welded it together. My welder was kind of acting up, so the welds don't look great, but I don't really care about that. Welded it on here. I've got a place for my punch to go into the wood so it won't damage my table, and this will keep it straight up and down. And I can set this to different lengths so I can bring it in real close. You can see here, this hole here is where I brought it in close to the bar, and then this is my second row closer in towards the head of the edge of the shell. And you can set this any distance that you need along there. It just helps me keep everything nice and straight. It also, I just gauge, I put my last hole right on the edge of this so it gives a nice equal distance all the way around. This is my favorite craft knife. It is made by Fisker. It fits on there. You can carve all sorts of intricate designs, and it's just a really good knife for control. I really like that. You can get that at Hobby Lobby or some other place that sells X-Acto knives, and it just takes a regular X-Acto knife blade. That's fudge. You don't need it, but it helps time go by. Okay, so I have this cut out. I used a brand new blade, so it made it real easy to cut. This is a Herman oak hide. It's from Bowden Saddles. They sent it to me frozen. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. I've always gotten dry. I soaked this overnight. It's been in there for about 12 hours, maybe a little bit more. And when they dry a hide, they stretch it out. This is awfully bumpy, wrinkled, which is not what I've experienced in the past with hides that have been dried, sent to me dry. So this is kind of new to me. I'm hoping that there won't be any problems. I'm sure it'll be fine. What I'm going to do is these lines, and I should have probably taken these all the way out to the end, but these lines are going to give me a place. I'm just going to about 3/4 of an inch in, punch a hole with my punch here. And what I'm going to do, start out with, just 2 on that are on the line. My punch is a little bit old, so it's kind of dull. And so I've got that. I'm going to do 2 equal distance, just kind of eyeball it inside of those. So what I'm going to end up with is 36 holes. Fairly equal distance all the way around. And then I will lace this up. I'm going to be using some jute, rather thick jute twine to lace this up, and I'm going to use I put some duct tape on the end here, kind of like a big shoelace, and that'll help me get it pushed through here. I've also got a small screwdriver in case it didn't punch all the way through. Like I said, that thing's kind of old, so my punch is a little old, so I might use that just to work the hole through there if I need to. And I'm going to crisscross all the way across here, just opposing holes, until I get it all laced up. So here we go. Make sure that your that the flesh side, where they've taken off the underside of the skin, is up, and the smooth side is down. Like I said, sometimes you have to kind of make the hole a little bit bigger. So, got that pulled through. This is really long. I would have put it through the other end, but I don't have duct tape on the other end to get it started. I don't know how long this is, but I just decided, when I first did this, I just did some calculations about how many times I'm going to go across and cut it way longer than I needed. And it's always been long enough, it should be long enough here. So I'm just going to tie a square knot or overhand knot there. I'm going to count. I'm going to go basically straight across, but I'm going to count my holes because I don't want to, because we're just going to alternate holes all the way across. So and you don't want to get it real tight at this point. You just kind of want to loosely put it on there, because it's going to move around. As you can see, it moves around pretty easy. You go all the way around and get it just kind of loosely on there, and then you're going to go through and tighten it up real tight. So then I'm going to come back down here, the one right next to that, and just crisscross all the way around. So I've got this laced up here. I went across it 18 times all the way around. Just equally spaced out the holes. I used my marks that I put on here to kind of help space that out. and you can see this is longer in certain places. So I'm going to try and just, this isn't on there real tight. You can kind of roll it and pull it on there. Here in a minute, after I get it, I mean it's pretty close. This right here is a little bit closer to the edge than I want. So I'm gonna, you can roll it a little bit, kind of get it on there the way you need it. It's not real tight. I'm gonna go and start pulling this real tight. And just work all the way around and get it real tight all the way around. It takes a lot of endurance and hand strength here, but you want to pull this pretty tight because this is where a lot of the stretch is going to come from your drum. And it's also going to pull, as you can see, pull that away from the edge quite a bit, so you're going to have more room to stitch. Kind of have to work your way around. Now that I've got this on here real tight and it's tied up, it's ready to go, I'm going to use these marks. I'm going to center it on here as best I can so it's equal distance all the way around, and I'm going to go in, and this is the bottom side of the head obviously, so I'm just going to put just a little dot right there. It's going to tell me where my holes are going to be. The reason I need to know that because that's going to dictate where I stitch and where I don't stitch. Obviously, if there's a hole here, I need to not stitch across where my hole's going to be. I'm going to have at least 4 times the length for the stitch I'm doing a saddle stitch. I'm going to just go ahead and make a little extra long here.